Okay, and I think we will start, and we make progress as more people join us. So I would like to formally welcome all who have joined us to this second PEEF virtual talk session on TVET, Technical Vocational Education Training. We want to really appreciate you being here on time. And the objective of this session is to focus on solutions. My name is Musa Rabiu. I'm the Executive Secretary of PEEF, Professional Excellence and Expertise Foundation. Usual anchorman Ahmed Mohammed is not available. So we're going to have the subject matter expert himself, Mr. Endi Ezengwe, to lead us in this session. So without further ado, I would like to invite the BOT chairman. As soon as he joins us, he will make his remarks. I see Alhaji Moshood Yusuf is here, has been here on time. Can we have him, admin, please, to just say a few words on behalf of the BOT chairman? Alhaji Yusuf, please, could you, on behalf of the BOT chairman, make some opening remarks? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I've just unmuted myself. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, very clear, sir.
Okay. On behalf of the chairman, who is not here at the moment, I would like to welcome you people to this session, which is very exciting. I enjoyed the first part of it, and I'm looking forward to a similar experience during this possible solutions presentation. On behalf of our chairman, I would like to say welcome to you and to pray that today God will guide us on the right path and give us possible solutions to our problem in this country. Thank you, and have a good day, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate that impromptu opening remarks. We appreciate it. Now, I would like to hand over to Mr. Endi Ezengwe to please lead the session. Over to you, Mr. Ezengwe. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Musa, for that. While we wait for the others to come in, I believe there are some people here already who have an idea of some solutions that we may offer towards issues concerning TVET in Nigeria. So while we are waiting for others to come in, if there's anyone that's willing to contribute or say something towards it, please, you feel free to do so. The admin will, if you raise your hand, the admin will allow you to speak while we wait for the others to come in. Is there anybody who wants to say something while we're waiting? Okay. At the last meeting we had, we looked at a few issues that concerns TVET in Nigeria, the challenges that we have. So we discussed that extensively, and the 7 points I'm sharing here is they are the things that we identified and talked about. But as of today, I would like us to really go a little bit deeper to look at some issues, not just the usual ones. I'm sure that if you Google or if you search for issues affecting TVET in Nigeria, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of information on the internet. So we may not want to just go through the mundane. We may want to try to look at some points that are really useful because PEEF is a special organization and it's quite business oriented. So we want to not just talk shop, we want to actually come up with some points. So we looked at the challenges that are affecting TVET in Nigeria. We said there were inadequate technical and vocational education training institutions, TVET, in Nigeria. In terms of the quantity and quality, we said that the institutions were not well equipped, they didn't have good staff, and so on and so forth. We said a lot of things. We also said that the number of the institutions that we need to achieve what we need to achieve in Nigeria is not enough. So that was one of the points that was highlighted at the last meeting. Now, another point that was raised also is that there is institutional discrimination against TVET graduates at all levels. There was an issue about the disparity between HND and BSc. Sometimes for someone to progress in the civil service after HND, they will have to get some master's qualification for them to be able to climb up to become something in the civil service, which means that they will have to leave the HND practice, go and do some masters in some other courses so that they'll be able to progress. And in so doing, they will abandon the HND. So, and people coming behind will wonder why they have to go through all that problem when they just have to simply do a BSc or BA, and they can progress very well in the civil service. So there's a need for that to be, that dichotomy to be resolved. And I know the government has done quite a lot and done some things already concerning this in terms of wages. Before there was a disparity in the entry wages for HND and BSc. I think that something has been done about that, but there's still something about how far somebody who has HND can go and how far somebody who has BSc can go. So I think something can be done about that as well. We looked at societal apathy towards TVET. We looked at the issues about in probably not Nigeria alone, in Africa, people are very, very hung up on titles. If you cannot become a doctor, then you try to find something, some qualification that you can put title in front. You have to put engineer in front. Some even go to put surveyor, some put architect, some put pharmacist, all kind of things. There's that need to have titles, and that is also affecting people going towards technical and vocational education training, which is seen to be for people who are less privileged, or people who are not intelligent enough, or people who are lower on this social scale in the community. We also looked at lack of industries in Nigeria, okay, leading to lack of experience or work-based learning places. So I was in a dinner meeting with the Honorable Minister for Agriculture and Rural Development 2 days ago, and he was saying that we lost 145 factories for cotton in the advent of the oil boom. So that means that 145 factories, those are those are the places where not only people can be employed, but people can be trained. So this oil boom and get rich quick mania, and all that leads to people not investing in industries. They prefer some easy money, and that has created a vacuum for industries in the country, and therefore you don't have places for the young people to be employed and as well as trained. Then we looked at 5, the impact of federal government institutions that are managing TVET. So we looked at the kind of understanding and the kind of linkages we have between National Board of Technical Education, National Business and Technical Education Examination Board. We looked at other institutions, ITF and so on and so forth, that are for TVET. How well are they working together, and what impact are they making on the system? We also looked at lack of funding for TVET institutions. We know that in some of the institutions, especially in the States, the so-called technical colleges are not properly funded because it's easier to fund a secondary school, just a high school that requires only a blackboard and chalk and some seats, as against funding a technical college that requires machines, it requires lights, it requires water, it requires special kind of teachers, and so on and so forth. So some of them, when there's no money, of course, the little that's available goes to less demanding schools. So some of these technical colleges are just there by name. They actually have also joined to become just simple high schools where they teach all kinds of subjects apart from what they're supposed to do. We looked at the 7th point was capacity of students admitted into various colleges of education, as well as departments of education in polytechnics and universities. Teachers are supposed to be of the highest grade in a society, in the community. I believe in Singapore also, they pay teachers very, very highly, because they are the ones who are supposed to transmit the knowledge to the younger ones. But it seems, again, with this patience for glamour and all that, teaching career doesn't seem to be the best. So it's only those who don't get, if you don't get medicine, you don't get law, you don't get architecture, you don't get pharmacy, you don't get other ones, then those that have the lowest grades are the ones that end up in college of education and education departments in the school. So you can imagine those ones with the lowest grades who are really not very happy, maybe that's not their cause, their choice actually, are the ones that we are going to use to train our young ones. So that's a big, big, big one. So you can imagine the kind of quality of those who are supposed to train our people. So those are the major points that we looked at. Does anyone want to add something to this, please? Hello, is there anyone there in the audience that want to contribute to what we've said so far? Okay, we'll continue on that. So having said that, we'll now look at the options we have. What can we do actually to try to resolve this issue? My concept, and I was thinking about this, and I was reflecting on it because I've been a little bit into this in Nigeria for the past 9 years. Having done it also outside Nigeria for another 10 years or so. So I've been reflecting on this, and I'm looking at, why we are where we are and why Nigeria is not really working the way it's supposed to work. When I was in the UK, the government there, they did a survey of what they wanted at 2020, what kind of skill sets they need, how many carpenters, welders, nurses, engineers, so on and so forth. And they were able to have a direction of what they need to be able to run the country and compete effectively with other countries and other continents as well. And based on that, they were able to come up with some kind of a guidance on the way forward, because they understood that a country has to be run by various sector skills areas. When they were trying to build the railway in England, they got some Jamaicans to come over to help them with the railways. There are people who are banking industry, there are people who are in various areas, but there are also people who are specifically needed in some areas, even in our homes. We have mates, we have drivers, we have security people, we have people on various levels. The same thing with the country and the society. I believe that even God himself equips every society, every community with skilled people in various areas. Nobody's made the same. So for a society to function, I believe that the universe sends people to who are skilled in various areas to make the community function. Now, where we have a situation, a community, a society, a country like Nigeria, where we decide on our own to choose some certain career and abandon some, it's difficult for the country to function properly, just like a human body. If we don't have the hands and the eyes, there's no part that is small or it's not required. The TVET section of the skill sets in Nigeria is missing. And because it's missing, the body is not functioning properly. Those who are supposed to be the good welders, good builders, good carpenters, good fashion designers, some of them are doing law. Some are even trying their hands in medicine. Some are doing biochemistry. Some are struggling with all kinds of courses because that's what their parents want them to do. That is what the society has led them to do. That's what they can do to find job or progress in the civil service. So because they don't have the kind of environment or support that they need, they are not functioning in their original, natural, given talents and potentials. So we now have skill sets that are skewed, and therefore we have to get people from Togo, from Ghana, from everywhere to come and work for us. We have to get people from Philippines, from India to come and work for us, because those that are supposed to be doing those jobs, those that are supposed to be in those positions have shifted and gone elsewhere because it's what their parents wanted, or it's because of financial reasons, or it's because of affluence in society. So we have that gap. And if we as a country don't seriously think about it, what to do actively to reposition ourselves and make sure that all parts of the body are functional, not only in quantity, but in quality as well, then the whole train cannot move properly. Okay, so that's what I was thinking about in TVET and where we need to go to. Now, so I've come up with a few solutions that we can address. The way this meeting is going, I think it's something maybe we may have to spend just an hour only on it, because we're not having the required audience that we need. Now, so the points that I've raised here for us to look at is a bit unique in itself. I don't believe that we should look at the fruits or the leaves or the branches of the tree. I think if we don't want the tree to be there, we need to go to the roots and uproot from the roots so that there won't be any tree anymore. If we just do the wishy-washy one and just touch the branches or the fruits, then we're just doing the same thing people are doing. I'm sure if you go on the internet right now and search, you will get a whole lot of recommendations, and a whole lot of work has been done. I mean, towards this. Now, so I tried to go out of the basics and try to look at some other points which, if applied, can help, especially coming from PEEF perspective, because PEEF, like I said before, are very serious-minded people, and there's a need for an impact to be made, not just to talk and have a webinar about TVET. So here we go. So the first one I think we should do is do a literature review of all existing policies on TVET in Nigeria. I'm sure there are so many documents that have been produced, so much work has been done. There have been a lot of workshops, seminars, World Bank, ADB, a lot of work has been done on TVET. So probably maybe instead of reinventing the wheel, let's do a review of all existing policies and whatever recommendations that has been there, and come up with some documents. Then upgrade the ones that has to be upgraded and delete the ones that are no longer relevant, and then include some if need be. But the most important thing is to implement. Okay, so all those wonderful policies, all those lovely recommendations, even this one now that we are also having, can be lying down somewhere and gathering dust in 2, 3, 4 years. Someone may also hold the same webinar on the same topic. Okay, what we need to do is to actually implement some of these recommendations and policies that have already been put in place. The second point I want to look at is, like I had said before about the example in the UK, I believe that we should do to conduct a national skills audit. I call it the TVET business model. Now, there's a whole lot of things that we talked about, like we mentioned in those challenges. This can address that. If we do a national skills audit and project the types and quantity of skill sets required for the next 20 years, like what happened in the UK, then we can know from our data that we need X number of masons, X number of carpenters, X number of automated technicians, X number of computer designers or repairers, and so on and so forth. So we look at where Nigeria is going to, where Nigeria wants to go, and look at some of these bigger plans that the country has. Look at the world environment and where things are going at the moment. So we have an idea kind of the number of people we need in certain areas, what kind of companies are we going to have, what kind of factories are coming in, and so on and so forth, and what kind of skill sets we need. Because I tell you, I consult for some manufacturing companies as well, and organizations. There's some people you cannot find, there's some skill sets you cannot find. You're looking for qualified people, you cannot find them. Okay, so so there is the need for people who are actually qualified. There are jobs. It's just a function of the people, can they do the jobs? So if we look at the factories we have, the industries we have, the service sector we have, or we want to have, we can have an idea of people that we need in so many. Then we can now say, okay, It's an X number, X number, X number. Now, how many institutions do we have? How many polytechnics do we have? How many of these do we have? So we look at that, and then we can now call them or go to visit them and assess them and look at how many that we can have. Now, depending on where that polytechnic or that institution is located, we allocate X number of people to them and X number of the types of trades. Okay. Now, when the government wants to give allocation to these institutions, it should be based on them being able to produce what we've asked them to produce. Let's say this Federal Polytechnic Owerri, for example. I'm just giving an example. We want you to produce X number of people in auto maintenance. Want you to produce X number of people in ICT. Want you to produce X number of people in hospitality. Knowing very well that Owerri is very good in hospitality. We look at skill sets around that area, then we give them those tasks to do. The people they are going to employ, the students that are going to enroll will be the students that the government needs in those sort of skills areas. So when they come into the school, they are trained according to what the government wants. And when they come out, they are likely going to get jobs because there has been a pre-existing assessment of the needs of these skill sets for the industries around where that polytechnic or that institution is based. So the polytechnic or the institution, even I'm talking also about the NTC 1, 2, and 3, whatever is going to be done is not just based on some courses that we normally run in this institution. It will be based on what the government needs from now for the next 20 years. Now, if there's intervention to be given, is there money to be given, that money, that intervention will be tied to the output of what we've asked them to do. Now, what's going to happen? What will happen is that the institutions, because they know that they need to produce X number of people, they are going to recruit people along those lines to enable them get those outcomes. They are also going to make sure that they partner with industries, get the right equipment to produce those people so that they can get their money. Okay? So that will give some kind of direction in what we're doing. That way, we can be sure that like I gave an example during the first session about the shawarma example. Said when you go to order shawarma, you don't just take shawarma anyhow. You say, I want beef, I want this one, I don't want beef, I want chicken, and so on and so forth. So in that case, all our institutions will be producing skill sets that are required in the country. And there will be a bank of these people by the government. Just, I think I was discussing again with the day we're talking about this, I was talking about the Ministry of Agriculture. So they were saying about the grain reserves that the government they go out and buy these grains when it's being harvested, store it so that the time when there's no it's in short supply, they will release some of them and stabilize the market. The same way the government can have a bank of people. A bank of people who do tiling, a bank of people who are carpenters, a bank of people who are fashion designers, and so on and so forth. And they can also guarantee anybody coming in that in the next 5 years, I tell you, we're going to have X number of people in X number of places. And then if we have industries coming in, and they say they want such skill sets, then the government can allocate some of these things. So I'm saying that because some of these institutions are actually government funded, and if they were private ones, it would be a bit easier to manage. But we already have the government ones, and government is spending money on them. So if we're spending money on them, then the money should be tied to the production of the skill sets that the government needs now and in the years to come. Number 3, I am also saying that we should offer scholarships or highly subsidized tuition fees for technical and vocational training institutions, including NTC 1 to 3, which is the high school level, and then increase the tuition fees of universities. Doing this will now drive people to move from universities to polytechnics and TVET institutions. Okay, so we can now, that's kind of a subtle way to redirect people, because I did that in Anambra State when I was running a World Bank program there, PEEF, State Education Program Investment Project that I was working for, and Anambra State. And I advised the government to give scholarship to people in technical colleges, and they did, and we had a lot of numbers. And that, I think that still stays now in Anambra State. While working with Abia State now on World Bank Assisted Ideas Project, I made some recommendations to my governor, Dr. Kezi Baz, which he accepted. And he's giving scholarships to students who are enrolling in technical colleges, NTC 1 to 3. And that, again, I'm sure is going to drive the numbers coming in, and we'll make sure that we have the outputs that we want after 4 years of the project. You know? So the country can do that, and that will also redirect people to go into TVET institutions. And by increasing the school fees for the universities, only those who really need to go there will go there. You know, those are people from poorer families or other things, they will have an option of going this way, and then we can get the numbers we need. Number 4, having said that, if we're asking people to go into TVET, we're trying to raise all these numbers, we need to also look at what happens in the civil service. I understand that even though there has been now equal entry pay for HND and BSc holders, I was meant to understand that as you progress in your career in the civil service, that there may be need for somebody with HND to do masters to be able to go above some levels in the civil service. That somebody who has a BSc can go all the way, but somebody who has HND can stop somewhere unless they do masters. And what happens is that the person will now have to be able to climb up. So instead of doing HND and doing masters, why don't you just go and do BSc? So that's why we're having our universities crowded, because people want to progress in civil service or whatever they are. So if we remove that boundary and said HND can go as far as possible, as BSc, then those whose main aim for going to universities is just because of this will now go for the HND. Maybe they really want to do HND, but they cannot do HND because if they do so, they will have to do something else again for them to progress. So I think promotion should be based on competency and capacity. Okay. And the 5th point is the National Board of Technical Education that oversees technical and vocational education in Nigeria. Like its counterpart, NAPTEP, I think it should be decentralized with zonal and state offices. NAPTEP I think they have zonal offices and they have state offices as well. If MBTE does that, I think they will have more impact in the states. They will have more impact in the zones. And then the office in Kaduna can now oversee all this, because this issue with TVET is a very, very serious issue, very, very serious issue that requires a bit more drastic action, that requires a little bit more field work, requires to be in touch with all these states. That's the 5th point I made. And then the 6th one is active national orientation for TVET through social media, television, movies, journals, and magazines. Okay, we need to look at how we can really sell TVET using good examples of people who have excelled in what they're doing. I happen to partner with Innocent, and I partnered with him to establish an academy there using his factory, and then we'll have the classrooms. So that his story, he didn't go to school, but his brain is one, I don't know how to say it. It's almost like a genius. Okay, so we need to sell some of these stories. We don't have to have double PhDs to be somebody in life and so on and so forth. So that can be done through social media, television, and so on and so forth, so that some of the younger ones can see role models and see reason why they should choose TVET as against going through the regular university courses that they may not really like to do. Then number 7 is strengthening the regulatory bodies to ensure credible certification of courses. Because if we're saying all these things, we want to have a bank of technicians in various areas. If we're saying so, what's the quality of the people that are being produced in all these colleges? It has to be good. It has to be good enough, like Philippines, that they sell to Saudi Arabia, they sell to the everywhere. So they sell to the US, UK, everywhere. So the quality has to be good. So if we're going to produce these people that we need for ourselves and also for our neighbors, even for overseas, we have to make sure that the institutions that are regulating these awards are very, very good and well supported. So basically, that is what I have for today. I will stop here. Maybe there are a few more things I may add. There are some who will say, well, how about funding? You didn't talk about funding and so on and so forth. Funding, I learned that from Dr. Adekola of the World Bank. Funding comes last. So many things you put in front. In fact, if you do the right things, put the right systems in place, funding automatically follows. So sometimes we look at funding. No, funding is not always the problem. Let's look at the systems first, and then funding can come along that. So I'll leave the floor open now. I know I understand from Dr. Musa that there are some people who came in who want to contribute. It's not about me, it's about PEEF. And I want us to be able to look at the points. If there's any issues from what I've raised that can be addressed, I'm more than glad to do that. If somebody has more points to add, that'd be very wonderful. So PEEF can have a document that we can work with. Thank you all so much for listening so far. Hello, admin, are you there? Hello, admin. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Endi, for this scintillating presentation. I'm sure the participants we have would like to contribute, and the protocol is to indicate by raising the hand electronically, and then the admin will give access for whoever wants to contribute to do so. Some of us have been here twice now, in the first session and this second session. So I'm sure we have issues that we want to react to or questions that we want to ask. Okay, let me start the ball rolling. Andy, thank you so much. So to get us prepared, in the 7 points you made for solutions, possible solutions, which are very fantastic. The last one is to strengthen the regulatory bodies for credible certification. In addition to decentralization of MBT and NAPTEP and so on. So how do you see this strengthening? Is it from a legislative point of view? Or so what, can you talk more about this? Because strengthening, can we be more practical about how would they be strengthened? Already they have an enabling act, so how can they be further strengthened?
Yes, of course need, when I say that decentralization is a very, very key thing, been around for 9 years. I know the need for that. It will require money, of course. It will require for them to be supported financially. It will also require more staff to be trained. It will also require enforcement, actually, of some of the. Someone told me that there's somewhere you can go and get a trade certificate. You just pay money. I don't know how true that is. Can go somewhere and pay for trade certificate and so on and so forth. That cannot be possible. There has to be some law against that. There's supposed to be some enforcement of. If you find people who are doing things wrongly, fake, and all that, so there has to be some consequences to that, so that we can be sure that what is on the bottle is what is inside the bottle. So that's the key thing about TVET. You know, what is written on outside the bottle should be the same as the content of the bottle. If not, then it's fraudulent. So that's the key thing. And because when an employer employs somebody with distinct qualification, they're expecting something. And when they employ that person and that person doesn't do what that certificate says, then they feel shortchanged. So we have to make sure that assessments are done properly, that they are done timely, and that whatever we say that person has is actually what that person has. Those are the points that I'm trying to make. So this is about funding, it's about infrastructure, it's about more human resources and training as well for these bodies to be able to function fully.
Thank you very much. Looking at the list of participants, I see Dr. Ashek Madugu, and of course others there, Kenechukwu, Israel. One of the 7 points which Endi raised as possible solution is having a national skills audit, TVET business module. Dr. Ashek, would you like to, given your background in the financial services, I think you are at FRS, would you like to comment on this, given that we have challenge with even our population, with NIM and so on, how can we overcome this challenge of having a national skills audit? Any comment from you, Dr. Ashek? Or anybody, but Dr. Ashek can take a lead. Okay, Dr. Ashek, are you on? Are you live or you are not at your computer? Okay, I will go to the next person, Kenechukwu, Israel. Any thoughts on this?
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you. It's okay. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so I think that for us to have a national skills audit, we first need to know what we have in the database. I'm not sure that Nigeria has a database of what is already available versus what we need as a nation. So who do we trust to embark on such an assignment? How long will it take to achieve this before we then start to proffer solutions that will benefit the nation? Thank you.
Well, thank you very, very much. Endi, you live in the UK.
I think that's part of the audit. Yeah, that's part of the audit, isn't it? We'll start from what is there, then subtract from what we have to what we need to have in 20 years. So I think, thank you so much for that. The audit is supposed to cover that as part of its terms of reference before it moves forward. It has to go backwards a little bit and find out what's existing. The point is even how do you find it out? It's quite a huge, it looks like a huge task, but I think it's possible, but it's something like PEEF can drive. It's a bit unique, but it's doable.
Yeah, very interesting. Like you said, this is a very huge task, national skills audit. Perhaps an approach would be to do it sectorally. Do we have existing, either in the UK or anywhere you're familiar with Endi, a methodology to go about this?
Yeah, I have no. What I did was I was one of the institutions that delivered. So the UK government did it themselves, and then they shared it. They now assess the institutions, and then if you're credible, they will say, okay, you, Dr. Musa and College, here, we need you to give us 400 students a year. These are the areas we want. So you now do that. Okay, so I wasn't involved in the top part of it, but I think it's not rocket science. It's from, I think, from the Ministry of Budget and Planning, or some of, we can look at where we're going to in terms of, I think there's a move towards agriculture. There's a move towards renewable energy. There's a movement towards, so it's a little bit of that. We may not have the exact figures, but let's know the direction we're going, and then let's know what we have already gotten, and then see how we can work with that. So I don't have the template, but we can work on getting as the source, and then some kind of some sample that we can use to do it. But it's quite a huge task anyway.
It is. If I share my experience in this area, in the oil and gas, and now I'm in the manufacturing sector, usually you have a competency framework that looks at the different sectors of the economy, national economy. And then within that, you identify the value chain of each sector of the economy, because your skill sets are supposed to deliver on each of the value sets, value chains. And once you have done that, then the issue is, what is the demand from the industry for those skill sets? And this is linked to the GDP growth, and so on and so forth. Those indicate macroeconomic indicators that we indicate that we need to grow the economy, and we need certain skills that we are lacking. So your audit then will bring out areas where, like we're talking about TVET now, you can't really grow if you don't have that middle level, hands-on skill sets, which is vocational and technical education set. And the best approach is to do it sector by sector. Some of the sectors are a bit advanced in this, but based on the company, specific company activity, where they have already done some work on what are the competency standards, what are the skill sets, and what is the gap. And this is reflected in their recruitment process when they bring people in from the university, but they also observe that the quality of tertiary education has gone down, so they have to do some intervention. I recall Shell did that. They had a Shell intensive program training, which was really to give a boost to graduates in the technical areas, engineering, IT, geology, and so on, because the quality of those graduates from the university had dropped. So that is looking at the skills gap from the point of view of the persons you need, but also you can look at that from the point of view of the skill sets that are not even there, because nobody is being trained in those areas.
That's right.
Interesting. Yeah. So let's hear from our participants. Anybody wants to add to this? Nelson, John, Ngozi, Ekelepe. We also have our engineer, Alhaji Moshi Yusuf. We're welcome to have your views, because this is an interactive session. Okay. Yes. Alhaji Moshi, please go ahead. I think you are muted. If you just unmute, then we can hear you are talking about.
Yeah, I thought I unmuted myself, but now I think I have unmuted myself anyway.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I enjoy the session so far, but my challenge is the possible solutions that is being offered, especially the one about skills audit, which we have been talking about. In my view, where we don't have a government that sees the future or plans for the future for the country, projecting requirements for 10, 20 years will be a challenge. So my question to Endi is, how can we make this work to be sure that the government is a continuum, it's not a government of the day that just plan for the term of office and then everything goes bad or ends as soon as that government leaves the office. So that is my challenge. Planning for 20 years could be a very nice idea, but how can we achieve this? How can we sell this to the people in power? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Yusuf. The planning must take place. I tell you, the earlier we begin, the better for us. I mean, that's why sometimes it's the difference between the Western nations and the African nations, is this planning ahead. You know, you go to a country, everything is running on autopilot. There's no easy, because things have been planned ahead of time and arranged properly. So I am of the assumption that the government in power and the next one coming will understand what we're saying. I'm sure that people in the various ministries, various, even at MBT, I'm sure they understand what I'm saying. It can be done. It's just a matter of the political will to it's not an option. We don't have that has to be done, you know. So we may. I think that's why I'm happy to be part of PEEF, because PEEF in PEEF we are business minded. I'm sure that we can make our case. The chicken that's been caught by the hawk, it says that it's crying not because that the hawk will leave it, but because the whole world will hear his voice. But in this case, it might be a bit different. We need to make the case anyway. You can never know. Somebody out there may listen and may want to do it, because it has to be done. And it's a driver. In fact, when you do that skills audit, it may not be perfect the first time, but when you do it and share these things to these polytechnics or these institutions of TVET, it will give them a driving force. Believe me, it will give them something to work towards. If you know, you can cut down your departments from 20 to 6 that are very, very useful to you, because the government is giving you money based on production of these 6 skill sets, and you do it very, very well. Each polytechnic specializes in some, not everything. And then you see quality, you see quantity also coming out. So I think that is one area that can help a lot. So the polytechnics that are doing better and that are producing more, giving results, get more money. So everybody wants to get more money. Everybody wants to do well. So I think that TVET business model can also help. So, but first of all, we have to have an idea, and a rough idea of what we need now and in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Endi. The BOT chairman has joined us, Engineer Alhaji Abdullah Abubakar. You're welcome, sir. Please, you may give us your words of wisdom or even comment on the subject matter. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Musa, and thank you, Mr. Endi.
Thank you, sir.
I must apologize for being late. I got involved in circumstances beyond my control, and I'm only able to make it both to my office and have access to my phone in the last 5 minutes. So I thank the organization for pleading without me, showing that at least we're a perpetual organization.
Yes.
This is a very dear topic to my heart. And I like the point that Mashoud Yusuf raised, because both himself and myself have discussed this same issue at many occasions. Getting this TVET thing on the road is not a minor issue. That's why it was very welcome to this second session. Embedding it into the organizational structures in this country is not going to be easy. But like Dr. Endi said, it is something that must be done. We need to make sure that there's clarity and there's a common policy thrust. Just like everybody has accepted the current curricula for education in general, so you must add the addendum to it of these specializations addressed so that they can be properly delivered and that they can be properly understood, and everybody who wants to make sure that he follows the dictates is also interested in following and going to the centers of excellence that will be set up so that we end up with the right quality and hopefully with sufficient money, the right quantities. Because without these basic things, all our hopes of industrialization, we're getting out of being just a commodity supplier, are all going to go down the drain. So I hear what Mashud is saying. I think the biggest thing is to make sure that we keep on advocating these structures. We keep on advocating and also talking to the political leaders. In fact, one of the things I was going to raise here is how can we set up a team that will be in a position to be able to address this to the policy makers, because that is where we need now to focus our attention. I actually saw the former head of MBTC about a week ago, and I was telling him that we are having this meeting, and I would very much like to see if there's an opportunity for us to get him, because he used to be a member of this body, and although he has been retired, I think he can be a link that will get us into the Ministry of Education, which would be one of our first points of call, and into the NUC and the MBTE, so that we can all start to talk on the same length and maybe share a common workshop together, so that we will understand where they stand, we'll understand what plans they have for the future, and they will also understand that we are a huge reservoir of talent and expertise that they can actually tap into to set up whatever they are going to do. And we're giving this high quality input into the education system basically free. We are investing our time because we believe in it, and because we believe in what is going to come out of it, and we believe that is the right way to go. So I'll be very happy to hear from other people in this webinar, their own views and how we can enhance this very simple thing and make sure that it is perpetual in our education system, rather than be a transient or dependent on simply one or two individuals who, when they go out of the administration, it is lost. We need to put into the structures to make sure that this remains with us. And again, I thank the organization as a whole, including the secretary and Ahmed, for keeping alive this flame, so that people will see that there are still people who see through and actually advocate structural changes that will make the country great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. This is quite rich, especially the idea of setting up a team on policy advocacy that basically will ensure that we leverage our expertise, but also ensuring that we have a link with the right government organs.
That's right.
Very good. And the former, executive secretary of MBT was really very, very supportive and was with us. The new one, I've actually engaged him and invited him to this session. He expressed enthusiasm, but perhaps he has a very busy schedule today, so has not been able to join the session. So thank you, sir. I think I will just invite others to make their comments on the the steers we have received from the BOT chairman, Endi.
Yes.
Want to lead on that, and others can also contribute.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, my chairman. I'm always very happy to hear from you. I think it's really a pleasure to even have a voice to say something. And PEEF is doing our little bit, no matter how small it is, we're doing a little bit. And the point you made on policy, people who can follow on policy is a very, very good point, sir. I'm a believer of things happening, sir. I'm a believer of things happening. I believe also that Nigeria is getting to a point where some of these things we're talking about, you know. I think if we make that that input, if we follow up on our discussions with those that matter, even going to present the House of Assembly, you know, or whatever it is, we can contribute in any small way. I believe it will happen. And also, if we look at also some private sector people who can also help us to make sure it's done. I mean, in terms of that skill set, for example, if it's about the finance and the technical expertise, who can approach some private sector people who may want to, who it might be of interest to them, because they are the ones who need these skill sets to be employed, to employ these skill sets. So they may also help us as well, so that it's not told across party lines or across who is in government or who's not in government. It can be done in a way that anybody that comes in with leverage on data is data. The data has no political affiliations, you know. So I think if we can do it in that way, I think something can happen. I believe that even though it's challenging, that we can continue, because PEEF doesn't have any special interest in the matter except for Nigeria to move forward.
Thank you very much, Endi. I can see Ezengwe has raised his hand. Please, could you go ahead and speak and contribute? You are muted. You have to unmute.
Sorry.
Okay.
Hello?
All right. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, thank you for the privilege to contribute. Somebody raised an idea, his fears rather, on planning on long-term basis, and I want to contribute to that, to say that planning is very critical, because without it, we cannot move forward. The planning will give us a roadmap. And there's this saying that if you do not plan, you have already planned to fail. Therefore, that is very important. Then secondly, it requires a properly crafted council memo that will be discussed in the Council of Education at the council meeting, annual council meeting, general council meeting. And if it is accepted there, then it will go further to a level of making it a policy. And after there, like the chairman had just said, an advocacy will be carried to the legislature to make sure that what policy has been put in place will not die with one administration, that subsequent administrations will be compelled by law to carry it out. And as a matter of fact, Nigeria cannot go anywhere without technical education. We'll keep lagging behind. It is important that now that it has been brought to the fore, that we do everything possible to make sure that we don't go back again, because it is absolutely important for our economic development. Thank you. Hello.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks,
thank you very much. Very good contribution there. I like the idea of going to the Council on Education because that is the structure in place. But then we need to have, a team to put that well-crafted memo together. Endi, you want to comment on this? Something that...
Yeah, we can ask for volunteers normally on the PEEF platform, and then those who want to join can come on board, and then we can work on it.
Okay. Very good.
I think it's the right way to go.
Yeah. So I want to invite Nelson John. We want to hear from you, Dr. Ashek Madugu. Could you also please let us have your views on the discussion so far? If you just indicate, then you'll be given access to speak if you raise your hand electronically. All right, Nelson has been given access. Please go ahead. You have to unmute if you want to speak. Yeah, please go ahead.
Hello, good morning,
Yes.
everyone.
Good morning, Nelson. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I want to say a very big thank you for the organizers.
I think Nelson has a challenge with its connection, network connection. All right, we can't hear him. Okay, he's still speaking. Well, Nelson, if you can put your ideas on the chat box, okay. Okay, Beauty Chairman, sir. Beauty Chairman, sir, you raised your hand. Please go ahead. We can't hear Nelson. Okay, maybe that's we can't hear Nelson. So network challenge there. Dr. Ashef Medugu, are you there? Would you like to say something?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Doctor. Good morning, Mr. Ezengwe. It's been a very educative presentation. And I think the recommendations are apt. And one thing that I wish to point out clearly is that the development of technical and vocational education and training in Nigeria has been, over the years, bedeviled with a lot of challenges. And the hitherto technical and vocational education institutions have been allowed to, decay, if I can say it. There were a lot of neglect over the years. And this was mainly as a result of the educational policy that has been put in place in this country. Now, the role of polytechnics, vocational institutions in other jurisdictions is clearly spelled out. And the graduates of such institutions are accorded the respect that they deserve because they provide vital services to the economy. But Unfortunately, in this country, as a result of the disparity that has been introduced and then the neglect over the years, if you visit some of these vocational technical education institutions in our states, it's unfortunate the kind of situation that you see. Dilapidated funding has been a major challenge, and so I think the contribution, the recommendations are apt, and I also wish to align with Dr. Musa on the issue of setting up a team, an advocacy team that will actually work in this area. So I wish to congratulate and appreciate our presenter for this wonderful presentation. And we hope to see more of such presentations. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ashek. I will just recognize that you have indicated that you're going to volunteer for this advocacy group, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, very good, very good. Already, Kenechukwu Israel has volunteered on the chat box, so we have 2. So if there are others that we want to indicate that now, please go ahead. You could do that on the chat box and we can take it off from there. Then we have to be in touch with you regarding the next steps. Thank you so much.
Of course, I'm interested.
Okay, very good. Of course, you are the SME.
You are the SME.
You are the SME. Okay, very good. Any more for now? Okay. Okay, we thank you so much. This has been short but very ideas packed, and we're also itching towards having actionable points. The major one, of course, resulting from our discussion is to have an advocacy team that will engage and perhaps seek the support of the former MBT Executive Secretary so that we can put a memo, well-crafted memo for the Education Council, and also that will lead to having a policy in place that will go beyond the government of the day. So we'll move this forward. The other point, of course, came out of Endi's recommendations, the national skills audit. So we'll see how we can tackle that, even if it's from a very macro level, and then we can extend that with the key action parties in government as well as private sector. So if I just recap the session so that we can wind up before 11:30. The 7 possible solutions shared with us are as follows. The first one is that we have already a lot that has been done in the literature, so we should focus on implementation. 2, the skills audit. We need to perhaps look at the TVET business model of the UK. 3 is the issue of promoting the right scholarship, emphasis on HND rather than mixing it up, HND and you go for MSc or MBA. We're diluting our TVET pool. Also, promotion should be competency-based, not just about degree. The issue of decentralization of MBT and NAPTEP, they should have a presence in each of the 6 geopolitical zones, and having an active national mass media orientation for TVET. So this will be an ongoing advocacy, and of course, strengthening the regulatory bodies for credible certification through funding and ensuring that the right things are done. Okay, so we thank you very much, Endi.
I was trying to say that on the NAPTEP already has, NAPTEP is already decentralized. I said MBTE, like NAPTEP, should be decentralized. NAPTEP already is already in zones and states.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that correction.
Okay.
Okay, any final comments from you? Then I'll invite the BOT chairman to give us his closing remarks.
Well, as usual, yes, I'm always very appreciative of your initiatives and your plan and support for this group. Same thing goes with the BOT chairman and all the members of the group. I began by saying that every society, that the universe, that God always sends different kind of skill sets in every community, even in a village. And everybody cannot be the same. So we need to look at the natural potentials of those people that God put in society. And in this case, it's Nigeria. We need to sieve those who are technicians and sieve those who are doctors, those who are lawyers. Somehow it has to be done so that the country, like a body, can function very well. And these are some of the things that we think we can do. It may look small, but bit by bit, as we go along with it, I'm sure that others will join, and then we'll be able to get to where we're going to in Nigeria. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Endi. I see Okeze hands raised. I don't know if it's to indicate volunteering.
It was the old one.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So I invite now the BOT chairman, sir, to please give us your final words so that we can close.
Thank you very much, Honorable Secretary, and thank you, Mr. Endi. And I thank again all the participants who took the time to come back to this event. And also for those who may be listening but not showing up on our list. It is a very important topic that we're addressing. And I think people should put it in the context that unless the country actually looks at these very basic and underlying issues, we will have serious problems. As you can see, many of the problems we have now are actually because we didn't tackle the things at the root when it is the appropriate time to address them. And I'm very happy to be part of the team, like Mr. Endi has said, who are trying to address these things and make sure that we have got the right structures, the right values, and the right delivery mechanisms on the ground to deliver. As the Honorable Secretary will remember, when we set out the SITP in Shell, I don't think many people actually understood what we are saying, but we are able to convince people how to put it in, how to get it off the ground, and how to make it work. And I think the results are visible all over the country at all the levels. And the pity is that, like has been said, some other policymakers came and stopped it. What would have been a tremendous thing to make sure that it continues and becomes something not just done by one company, but taken over by the nation and addressed by the whole country. I thank the people who volunteered to be in this team that we are going to work with to try and make sure we address all the policymakers and we address them also at the right level so that we do not create things that will ruffle some sensitivities. Because you know, the organizations normally have got sensitivity and how things are approached and how things are done, or else you will have unwitting enemies. And I'd like to see that, please, if you know other people who may like to join or will be beneficial, please let us have the name so that we can also try to make them come in. And when this, the outcome from this webinar is put on the WhatsApp side, we should still ask for more volunteers to come out and work with us so that we can then know who is available and then we can set up a timetable to make sure that we can start addressing the key things. So I thank you very much. So Endi, I have to say that it means you will have to come again one more time when we make the advocacy to go out and say, this is what we are going to, and please come and support us. And then we'll want all members of the PEEF to come out and support us so that we'll make this a success and keep the flame going. Thank you very much. Back to you for closing. Thank you very much to Sandy and to all the participants once more. And God bless.
Nice.
Thank you very much, sir. Nothing to add. we just say thank you. And our next PEEF virtual talk will be on the 26th of August. We are hosting the president and CEO of SHRUM, which is the Society of Human Resource Practitioners in the US. It's a global organization. And the webinar will be across, of course, Africa and the US and globally. So please, if you have not registered, please try to do that. The link has been already published. So look forward to seeing you then, as well as the next session that we're going to have with Endi when we are doing the advocacy program. Thank you so much and have a very good day. Bye for now.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.